readers, welcome back to Reading Realm. I'm very excited about this review. This is, again, one of the ones that I carried over from last year. And it is a book that my aunt gave me that apparently she and my dad grew up with, which is The Space Child's Mother Goose. It's bright, so it's glaring a little bit. But this is a really, really interesting book because it's basically taking some traditional, like, Mother Goose children's rhymes and rewriting them to be kind of either science, sci-fi, or sort of astronomy based. Which I think is really, really funny and kind of cute. A couple of them are not in English, and so I don't really know how to read them. I think one of them might be in French and one of them might be in German. But also, I think it's kind of fun because at the very end, it actually has... It's very bright, it's glaring. But it actually has kind of definitions of some of the words that are used that are much more scientific than necessarily a small child who's reading nursery rhymes would necessarily know. So I think that that's kind of fun. Also, the art is very, very cool. Again, it's kind of glaring, but it's such a unique style of art, and I think it's very, very fun. But I had this particular page bookmarked because both my dad and I are really into astronomy, and this particular one I think is just kind of fun because it includes a bunch of different stars, that I know most of them I could actually point out in the sky. But I just think it's kind of fun, because I don't recognize this particular one from my childhood, so it maybe is a rewriting of an actual nursery rhyme, or it could be something that this author wrote themselves, or himself. I should have mentioned the words are by Frederick Winsor and the illustrations are by Marion Perry. But I think this one is kind of funny because all of them are stars that I pretty much have some familiarity with, but I feel like it would be really fun for a small child to also get that through this poem, or nursery rhyme, whatever you want to call it. So this is number 18 in this book. But it says, "Gay go forth and gay go far to know the song of every star. Obey the space laws, rash young man, enjoins the great Aldebaran. Never scorn a chart to use, says the careful Betelgeuse." There's so many ways to pronounce that one's name, but I think that's how they want it in this. "With traffic thick, beware the fool, postulates Algol the ghoul. Even hyperspace is narrow, says Arcturus of the arrow. Watch the heavy water seal, says Canopus at the wheel. Miscalculations fuels drain, thus says Spica, ear of grain." And then it just continues through with a few more. So it's got Denna, Bellatrix, Formalhaut, Altair, divide, command, and court disaster, Pollock says, and so does Castor. Which, if you are not super familiar with astronomy, or I guess astrology, maybe, Pollux and Castor are the stars that are the heads of the twins in Gemini. And then it has Sirius and Algorab in this. So I think it's kind of fun having all those different things. And what they are, basically, or what constellation they represent. But I think that's very fun. Also, that's why the twins in the Hunger Games are Pollux and Castor, because they're the twins in the constellation. But yeah, just all the art is very, very cool, and I really enjoyed it. I read it all in one day because it's not a very thick book, but it is very fun, and it is also fun to see, like, some of them are very, very recognizable what the original one was. The first one, no, not the first one. The second one is, Little Miss Muffet sat on her tuffet in a nonchalant sort of way. With her force field around her, the spider, the bounder, is not in the picture today. So you can see kind of what that one's based off. I think that's a really, really well-known one. There's one about, like, using time travel to save Humpty Dumpty from ever actually falling. There's just a lot of ones that I feel like are pretty well known, and then some that seem a little less well known, and I don't know if that's just because I didn't grow up with them or whether they are original to this book or whether they're changed enough that I just don't recognize. But I really like it. I think it's very, very interesting, and also the art is very, very cool. And apparently in the there's an introduction from the illustrator who basically said her surreal art kind of, some people were not that interested in her being their illustrator because it was so surreal. But it fit this one perfectly, so she was really excited to work on it. And some of them are really short, like just a few lines, and some of them are like this one with the stars. It's this whole thing. Or there's one that goes across a couple of pages, but it's a pretty fast read. Again, it is a kid's book mostly, but I would say also it kind of is fun to read as an adult for the more complicated science references. I really liked it. I don't have a child, but I think it would be a fun book to read to a child if there was a child, which there's not for me, but if you have a kid or a younger niece or nephew or anything like that, I think it would be a fun thing to read them or give them as a gift, or just fun to enjoy as an adult, because I definitely did. I think it's really fun. I think it's definitely certain things you might have to stop and explain to a younger kid, like what is an astrogator, which is one of the things in the back that it explains, or various different things in here. There's a lot of things where it's like telepillage, or words that are maybe not common in young child's vocabularies. But I think that it's very, very funny. Like, another one is BEM, which at the bottom they say that means bug-eyed monster, which apparently can also be referring to the child, which I think is kind of interesting. But yeah, I really liked it. I think it was very interesting and also kind of thought-provoking about some of them that are kind of scientific, where it's like, what are they exactly meaning by this, or something like that. But I really, really enjoyed it. And like I said, my aunt gave it to me, so I'm excited that she did, because I would probably have never heard of this book if she hadn't. because it's a much older book. I think the first copyright was 1956, then 1957, then 1958, and it was renewed in 1986. And then the introduction and author biography were both written in 2001 for this version. But I think it's definitely a very, very fun book. And my sister and I both have a copy of it now, so I really enjoyed it. I think it's also a really good quick read. I have been in the middle of one of my longer books for this year, and so I was like, I'm just gonna read this in like half an hour so that I have something to review this week before, like, not trying to rush through the rest of that other book because I want to be able to enjoy it. So I picked this one up and read it and was like, this is actually a really, really fun book. It's cute, it's intelligent, it's funny. I really liked it. So, this is my second book that I've finished this year, which I'm also excited about because I think I'm on a pretty good target to finish my reading list so far. It's only like the second week of the year, but I was doing the math, and I think I have to read 3.5 books a month to be able to finish all of my goal, which isn't accounting for some of the books are very short and I can finish in one day, like this one. But I think the fact that it is only January 10th when I'm recording this and I've already finished 2 books and I'm in the middle of a couple others, I think that's pretty good. So we'll see. One of my New Year's resolutions that I talked about on my autism channel, where I just made a video about what my resolutions for the year are, is to finish every book on my reading list this year. So I really, really want to try and do that. And then the other one on there is I want to try and get this channel to 500 subscribers. So if you haven't yet, please subscribe. Also, please subscribe to my other 2 channels that I have now, because I have goals about growing both of them as well. So I will link them in the description. I'm trying to actually remember to advocate that I have other channels now. But with that being said, I am going to leave this review here. I enjoyed it. I hope that you find a copy or something for yourself or your child or a child in your family or your life, because it is a very, very fun book and also just very intelligent and might get a young child interested in science or astronomy or anything like that. So I think it's a very good book and I really liked it. It was a really quick read, but I enjoyed every single page of it. So I give it 10 out of 10 stars, because there's a lot of stars in it and on it. But with that being said, let me know what you're reading this year, how your reading list is going, whether you made a reading list, or let me know if you've read this book, because I definitely think it's very, very fun. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe. Like I said, it would really help me out, and keep reading. Bye!